But remember, today was 79. That is 17 degrees above average. If you had the same high temperature record in summer, Jeb, think about this. If you were 17 degrees above average for a record in July, you would have a high temperature of 102 degrees.
That's ridiculous.
Or wait, no, I just did my math wrong.
I'm already
108. Sorry, 108. Because the highest normal we have during summer is 91. So you add 17 degrees, you're at 108. So I think sometimes like when we see these, we're like, okay, yeah, it's a record, but it's 79, so it's comfortable. Well, compare that again to those times of year, and it kind of just goes to show you how dramatic of a difference that is. So yes, that's the first thing I'm going to start with is our record high temperature we had today in Charlotte. Broke the record for today, November 19th. What I do think is interesting, I think we're on the wrong computer, Jeff. It's okay. I'm on weather one. Yeah, there you go. What I think it is I think Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich decided that for his birthday, which is today, so happy birthday, Brad, if you're watching, he was going to take off, and so the atmosphere decided it was going to get a little crazy and decide that it was going to get a record. So happy birthday, Brad. Here's a new record high temperature in Charlotte. It was substantially above average, as we just mentioned, 15 to 20 degrees above average across the Piedmont. It was even warmer than normal, too, across the areas in the mountains, just not quite as warm as here locally. It is almost 7 o'clock, but we are still at 70 degrees here in the Queen City. Hey, at least it's a beautiful view there from our tower cam right over the station. This is, of course, looking toward uptown Charlotte. If you've seen this gorgeous camera on our show, on TV, or even on our website, because we do have those cameras there as well, you can see a beautiful shot of our skyline. Sometimes it's turned toward the airport, since we're just off Billy Graham Parkway. Tonight, we are going to see temperatures a lot more mild. In fact, tonight's lows, that is, will be closer to our average high than our average low temperature. And that's partially because of these clouds that you can see here moving in across the Charlotte area. And really it's across most of the deep south as well. What I do want to show you here is that when we have these clouds, right, and a combination of a southwesterly wind, that's what's helping pump in some of this warmth and moisture. On top of that, clouds act like a blanket overnight, keeping temperatures warm. Think about you snuggled in bed, right, nice and cozy in your comforter, and how your body emits heat, but it gets trapped by your blanket, by your comforter, so eventually it makes you feel toastier. Jeb, I know you said you were trying to channel fall and winter, so you probably have felt this as well.
I've been trying. The Mother Nature's not making it any easier.
It really has not. So it's the same thing with the atmosphere, right? When clouds are around, the long range, I keep trying to say long wave and keep saying long range. The long wave radiation is trying to release back into the atmosphere, and the clouds are essentially blocking it. So again, it's that same situation. 52 is the low, closer again to our average high, which is 62, than our average low, which as of today is 39. So we should expect more 30s coming up in the next few weeks and months. Tomorrow afternoon, we're back in the 70s. Because of those same clouds, it won't be quite as warm. Most spots about 72 to 75 degrees. Not expecting records, but still going to be well above normal. But there is another day this week/weekend that I do think we have a pretty good shot at nearing, if not surpassing, a record high, and that is on Saturday. You can see these next 3 days, we're still in the 70s, so we're still well above average, but Saturday kind of takes the cake, and here's why. Well, number one, if you look at the record, it's 76, which is pretty abnormal. Our records for most of the days this week are 78, 79, and 80, and that's just based on statistics, right? 76 set back in 2011. But on top of that, it is the day that we see our most warmth, most moisture influence from an approaching cold front, because it's the day right before the front happens. So typically the last day before a front moves through would be the warmest because it has the most warmth pumping in ahead of it, which is also called warm air advection. There's maybe a fun little meteorology term that you can look up later if you're interested. And maybe Tim and I will talk about what it means later in the main part of the show. So ahead of this next storm system, we see a stalled cold front tomorrow night and early Friday. That brings a small chance of rain. With the moisture nearby, we see another brief chance of rain Friday night into Saturday. I don't want us to get too excited about this chance for rain because it's pretty low, pretty minimal, but hey, we'll take anything we can get. And then the main cold front moves through on Sunday or Saturday night and into Sunday, but it's really not going to cool us off that much. It's actually really just putting us closer to where we should be for this time of year. And if that sounds familiar, it was the same pattern we had this last weekend, but instead of Saturday to Sunday, it was Sunday to Monday. However, Brad's been talking about this for a few days. There is a cool down in the long range forecast. As we get closer to December, we are going to see cooler temperatures. But if you've been seeing a lot of crazy hype on social media about stratospheric warming and all this stuff, just remember, pattern flips happen all the time. Remember that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be now 17 degrees below average, right? Like where I was just talking about today's high. This just means that we're expected to be closer to where we should be for this time of year. Because by the time we get to those few days in early December, our average highs drop to 58 and average lows drop to 37. So again, comparatively, that's pretty chilly. But it's just also going to feel so much different because we've been so warm over the last few days. So with that being said, it's getting colder. We know it's going to happen in that 7 to 10 day forecast. If you're getting excited about some ski resorts starting to open, Sugar Mountain already has. Snowshoe, Beach Mountain are expected for that week of Thanksgiving, and then Winter Place, West Virginia, first week of December expected, and then of course Apsky Mountain, we're still a little bit of a question mark here. And you can see by this weekend, we got another new ski resort opening. So that's something to look forward to if you are a fan of winter weather. Unfortunately, if you're not, we got to get ready for it, because yes, it's going to stay pretty warm over the next 7 days, but as we look at the extended forecast, there's that little hints of winter. I wouldn't say as winter is returning, because it feels like we really haven't had it other than that one morning last week, but winter is certainly coming. There's a look at the extended forecast. We're going to go to a quick 2-minute break, and then we'll be back with Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley from WFMY.